Yo, yo.
Hello.
How you doing, brother? Sorry,
Hey,
mate.
how you doing?
I was just doing something quick.
No, you're all right. Well, I just wanted to have a chat with one of you guys,
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't mind. It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be very brief. And if you don't want to have the chat, it's fine.
No, no, it's fine.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't. I think I've probably processed you a few times now. I think your voice sounds familiar anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know who
Maybe.
I am?
Not entirely, but like I said, I think we probably met a few times in passing. You
If I said I drove the white Charger
know.
from street races, possibly one earlier today, were you involved in that?
Involved. I mean, I was. To be honest, I wasn't
Any?
really involved. No, not necessarily. But I know what
No.
happened. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like anything you say, I'm not going to use like to incriminate you or anything. I just want to have a honest chat about it. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to kind of get an idea of why you guys go from 0 to 100 very, very quickly.
In
Um,
regards to.
in terms of like aggression after a race ends,
Because
or why even a boost, why you
so
guys ramp up the aggression so quick?
the reason we had a kind of a big meeting with Stubble and kind of spoke through all these things. And we're not really a gang that is known for necessarily escalating. But we pretty much said like if our lives are going to be threatened, so especially with the shooting things, if we're going to be threatened to be shot, then before we're being shot at, if that threat's been made. If that's we will make that call ourselves before we're shot at. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is like it's all fine to stay as cars, bumper cars, whatever you call it. But as soon as then as soon as our boys are being threatened to be shot, then we will obviously match that energy.
yeah.
And we
Well, so
never we never race, we never boost, we never do any other illegal activities or steal cars. We never ever we never ever like make
to
a plan
shoot.
to shoot a cop. Like that isn't what we do. I
Yeah.
think and a lot of other officers will probably agree that it isn't the Mandem
No,
that
I
do
can agree
that.
with that.
On
I can agree with
I know
that.
there's
That you
other
guys don't set
groups.
up
Yeah,
plans
I
for
know there's
that.
other groups where they'll have like massive fucking like kill spots set up and stuff, and that's just how they do them. But that isn't us. We only really ever tend to get to that stage when we just matching the energy that we're given.
Yeah.
If I'm completely honest, that's pretty much us. I mean, if I'm honest, I think don't get me wrong. Like I say, you guys doing your job, you do what you need to do. What I believe is causing more shootouts than before is the fact that Air One is pretty much attending everything. So, regardless of how much of a good driver you are, if you have a very good pilot in Air One, it's pretty still a very extreme feat to try and VCB the police force. I mean, we may have been involved in an S plus boost last week that we literally drove until it ran out of fuel because we didn't want to like shoot you guys, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like, what do you do? Like, you know?
All right. Well, let me touch on two things. I'll touch on the Air One thing. When you say it's everything, what do you mean everything? Like it is because obviously I know
I
Air
mean,
One attached to S pluses
yeah, yeah.
and races. That's
Is Air One attended? Because I'll be honest, I mean, maybe it's just a bit of bad luck, but every single race that I've attended, or even like some in-house kind of like friendly races that I've
yeah,
attended, because like that today was like literally an in-house kind of friendly race. There was no, you know what I mean? There was no. I still know it's a street race, it's still illegal, whatever. But at the same time, like all of them people there are family, so they're all going to back their boy to get the car out. It's not like
yeah.
you turn up to a, it's not like you turn up to a random race where half the people don't know each other, and then it's
No, I no. Well, I agree with that.
like that's
Look,
why it would have
I've
gone that way.
been
You know what I mean? Like that's why it would have escalated to that, because at the end of the day, we've all got each other's backs, and we're not going to leave anybody behind.
yeah. Look, I'll touch on the escalation stuff in a
But
second, but the race. I've been SRU for a good few months before the restructure, and now obviously I'm a supervisor for HSPU. I
mhm.
understand what happens with street races. I understand because going after crews and gangs, I know how they operate. When one of them goes down, it's all hands on deck to save them. Right?
Mhm.
That's fine. And with the context of like not knowing it's a friendly race, to be honest with you, that's something we don't take into account, and we
No,
never
absolutely.
will because
Yeah,
at the
hundred
end of
percent.
the day,
No,
you said it yourself.
I'm
A
not.
street
I'm
race is
not.
a street race, right?
I'm not expecting that. But what I'm saying is
Yeah,
like, so just into. I mean, like I say, regardless of anything else, you getting your Air One out and doing whatever you did is completely within your jurisdiction. You're just doing your job. I understand that, but like, we had the option, to start that race. We already knew there was loads of cops set up, you know?
Yeah.
We could have all just sat there with our engines off for 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, for in the better light of, you know, I suppose giving you guys some people to chase, not that you need it, like I said, that's not what I'm trying to insinuate, but, like, you know, we were down for the drive and the ride as much as you were,
Yeah.
but if I'm honest, when it gets to that point where it just doesn't become a battle of who's a better driver, if you know what I mean, like Air One's coming out and all that kind of stuff, and I understand, but that's, like I say, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing that. Like I say, you're completely within your right to do it, but, like, you know, multiple times during that chase, we had no ground units on any of the cars, you know, and it just seems to be, and like I said, shout out to the pilots who do that in Air One, because I've tried to fly a helicopter and I'm nowhere near that skilled. But you know, it just seems sometimes where we don't really have an option. So it's either like we either try and do something more drastic or we go to jail. You know, that's pretty much how we feel at the moment.
This is what I'm not going to tell you. Like, I'm not going to give you tips on how to do your thing, right? But I'll touch on the aggression in terms of, so I understand the matching energy. If you hear that, like, for example, in that situation, I called out to shoot whoever's driving that white calico.
Yes.
And
it was only that point that was mentioned in our communications that we were going to match. That was the only time that shooting was even mentioned. As soon as that call was made,
I can understand that. But what got us up to that point, and now I can, if you guys want to come back and do the counter argument, the way you guys handled after the race gets our escalation up quicker than any other group at the moment. And I'm being completely honest with you. We have to match, like, we as a police force have to either match or go one above, right? And when you guys immediately come in after the end of the race, pitting at speeds, no, I'm not saying high speeds, but like pitting in straights around 70 up to 80 up to 90, and it's constant. And like, that is one thing you guys do. It is
the thing is, and what I will say is, obviously this isn't your fault, and you know, so us as a group, like, we are a group, we kind of pretty much know what most of us get up to all the time. You know, if there's been an incident like with cops, we kind of know it's gone on. What I think doesn't happen a lot in the police force is, you know, other officers will do things, and unfortunately, because you are part of the same police force, it does, you know, reflect on you guys as a whole. So regardless of who was in, like, the previous interaction we had with the police, you know, if they're doing things like that, then, you know, we're not going to hesitate to do it back. And like I say, unfortunately,
let me touch on that real quick, because I was told, I'm to understand that you had a little chat with another officer. I think his name's Quinn. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, or if he talked to you,
that was
or
me,
if I was talking. Oh, it was you. Okay. So I got information relayed back to me from a boost that I was involved in, and I am very good at my recollection of knowing what I do, and I hold myself to a very high standard, right? I don't fuck around. I don't make. I like to think I don't make a huge amount of mistakes, right? But the information he gave back to me of the scene that I was on was way different than what actually happened. I got onto that scene, and it was, you could tell you guys were having a bit of fun, right? You guys were enjoying it. You know, it was what I'd imagine. You know, you're all six deep in a cone and shooting the shit, being illegal, robbing cars, all that kind of shit. And we got on scene, and I felt like that was the same. You know, we were giving the same energy to you. It was a bit of fun and all that. I wasn't going particularly hard on the call. Like, I was just enjoying it. I wasn't primary on the call. I wasn't primary chasing that piece of shit car that he was driving. Even when another unit showed up, I dropped back to tertiary, and then I started fucking around with whoever's driving that white calico. And in a very in a certain tone where I was trying to make sure that, you know, I was taking it lightheartedly. And when we were, I think it was like coming off the freeway, you know, a little skip that you can go up onto Los Lagunas off the El Perro freeway. You probably know if you see it. But I saw him coming up, and he'd been following the chase for the best part of like 5-10 minutes, and I had warned him, you know, stop following it. And I bumped him back down, just a little bump, and I was just laughing over the megaphone. And I don't know if that seemed to have been taken a completely different way, because I got told that I hit him at high speeds and told him I drive a white livery for a reason.
Yeah. So what was like I say, what was said to us was yeah, he ran back down kind of the ramp, and then what was said is I drive a white livery. I've got a white livery for a reason. So obviously,
I'll own it. I did say that, but it was in a certain tone that I said it. It was a
so obviously,
it was a joke.
I mean, if you said that as a joke, then that's fair enough, But I don't. I suppose in that moment, I don't think it was taken that way. And fair enough. Like at the end of the day, if you said it as a joke, you said it as a joke. I'm not going to stand there and tell you that you haven't. But that is what escalated that situation, if I'm honest. Because
I realize that.
And that was the only reason. Like at the end of the day, like. Yeah, that was the only thing that escalated that situation. Was that being said, and us not knowing the tone that you said it in, was a joke. And I think if that would have been known, like we have a lot of back and forth with, with cops, and we try and remain reasonable, and that's why we're always willing to have this kind of conversation. Like we're not going to tell you to because at the end of the day. Us speaking about this now is probably going to prevent stuff like that happening in the future. But I mean, that's pretty much all it was.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Look, barring obviously guys being criminals, being a gang, shooting us, all that shit. I actually quite like you guys, and I'm trying to get that little bit of rapport with you guys, but it is very difficult to do that. When situations like today and that other one go the way that they do. What I can say is I'm in a position to hold a lot of officers accountable on what they do on scenes and in races and in any sort of pursuits. Now that doesn't mean like I'm offering an avenue to where you can come and complain about something, like every little thing that you don't like an officer did to you. But if you have a serious complaint or serious worry or serious something that happened, you can bring it to me. I can try and do my best to review it. I'm not promising anything will happen. But
no, absolutely. Like, I understand
right?
At the end of the day, right? And at the end of the day, I understand it because at the end of the day, we're criminals doing criminal activity. And you're a police officer getting paid to stop people doing criminal activity. So I understand there's only so much, like, you know what I mean? When next time you see us, shooting somebody in the face, we don't expect you to, be upset about it. Because at the end of the day, you got a job to do. But, I appreciate you reaching out. And I think it's always good. We don't really tend to, I don't know why it is, but for some reason, like, earlier in the day, recently, sometimes there's just been, I don't know, just a few incidences that have just kind of made us kind of feel like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, and we're not like that, like, but we don't really normally get riled up. And at the end of the day, there's just been a few incidences where I suppose, we've just matched the energy that we've been given, and that's when it will turn into that. But, like, trust me when I say that we never, do any criminal activity with a plan in mind to shoot police officers. That is never our first choice. A lot of times if it comes, it's either through provocation or, as a complete last resort. Yeah.
No, I can understand that. But what I will not necessarily, I guess this can be taken as advice, but it's not as really as a warning. You don't shoot, and like it's not something you jump to straight away. However, how you get involved in terms of interference and blocks can lead it to getting to, us getting to that point quicker than you may want that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There was a few blocks, like obviously even before I got, or sorry, not blocks, there was a few pits before even I got pit on Route 68 that were getting us to the point of that, where we were clearing to get, to start pitting you guys at higher speed because that's what we were being pit at, with no real regard to anything, right? That's what it felt like.
I mean, the way I see it, so obviously this is always going to be a thing, because I think if you guys are pit in a way that you deem life-threatening, obviously then you will one-up it, and obviously the shooting is the next, at the end of the day, if your life's been threatened, I mean, I suppose that's the next, Yeah,
like if I've been pit, like in the terms of one on Route 68, I got pit at 110, and the way that I was pit, it was on the split between to go, like, either go to Harmony or go to Sandy. And if he had hit me half a second later, I was going into a tree at that speed.
Yeah, my guy, Jay Martin, big Jay Martin.
And like within like 20 meters. And I'm sure you wouldn't want that if it was the other way around. You wouldn't want to be pitted at 110 into a dead stop of a tree, and God forbid your harness breaks or you don't have your belt on and you're
I mean the thing is, but the thing I understand it now, and like I say, in that incident, admittedly, like that wasn't the thing to do.
Yeah, but I'm just using that as
a couple of weeks ago, we had a cop pit one of our guys at like 130, knocked him off the road, and then their car ended up in a river. And obviously a waterlogged car, they couldn't do anything with it. And then once that cop was confronted, they said it was just a casualty. And that's kind of what the way they thought about it. So. Okay. So in that kind of instance, like, but I'll speak to the boys and I'll just say, like, you know what I mean. If we're going to interfere, just make sure we're we're being a bit more courteous the way we're doing it.
At the well, no, not courteous. Look, at the end of the day, it's up to you how you guys want to do it. If you guys want to continue the way you go, then that is like it's your prerogative. What I'm offering to you,
one-time deal.
I'm doing this in hopes that that's something. I'm not expecting a full change. I'm not expecting you guys to be saints, like holding yourselves back, or any of that kind of shit, because that's not feasible. That's not something to ask of you guys. I don't expect it, right? However, what I will advise is if you can put a little bit more, I guess, thought into what you do and when you do it, I can offer up that avenue of if you guys have any genuine issues of stuff that has happened around this time, whether it be like early in the day, like around shift 3. Or going into around now, which would be like midway through shift 1.
Yeah.
If you have any issues, like serious issues or stuff that has happened where you've gotten, who was involved and you want it brought up, you can keep my number, you can spread it around, and you guys can talk to me.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate the call, like I say, and I appreciate you reaching out, and I'll like I said, I'll speak to the rest of the boys, and we'll go from there. And I say, if we do have any,
give me a call in a couple of days if you want, or I might give you a call and just touch base and see where you're at.
Yeah, say less. Appreciate it.
And we'll see where we go from there. All right.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the